The sea has always been a keeper of secrets. It carries the weight of history beneath its surface. Shipwrecks, forgotten battles, and stories that were never meant to be told. Most of the time, when a ship is lost, the ocean is silent. No explanation, no farewell. But once in a great while, the sea speaks, and when it does, the message can be far more terrifying than silence. In the late 1940s, somewhere in the waters between Southeast Asia and the Indian Ocean, a radio signal broke through the static. It was weak, fragmented, desperate. The ship that sent it was called Ourang Medan, and the message it transmitted would become one of the most disturbing distress calls ever recorded in maritime history. Radio operators aboard multiple vessels reportedly intercepted the same transmission. The signal was in Morse code, halting and uneven, as though the sender were struggling against something unseen. The message began like many others at sea. "All officers, including captain, are dead." Already it was alarming, but the transmission continued. "Lying in chart room and bridge." Then a pause. Then the words that turned unease into dread. "Possibly whole crew dead." Several seconds of silence followed, long enough for operators to believe the signal had ended. Then one final line came through. 2 words. "I die." After that, the signal stopped. Forever. The coordinates placed the vessel somewhere in the waters near the Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. Multiple ships altered course to investigate, among them an American vessel that would later become central to the story. Hours later, they found her. The Ourang Medan drifted silently on calm seas. No smoke from the stack, no movement on deck, no response to repeated hails. From a distance, the ship appeared intact. No signs of battle, no visible damage. She floated as if waiting. A boarding party was assembled. They did not know they were stepping into a nightmare. As soon as the rescuers set foot on deck, something felt wrong. The ship was eerily quiet. Not the peaceful silence of calm seas, but a heavy, oppressive stillness, as though sound itself had been drained away. They began to find bodies. Crew members lay scattered across the deck, in corridors, and inside the bridge. Every man was dead, but there were no visible injuries, no blood, no wounds, no signs of violence. What stopped the rescuers cold were the faces. Each corpse was frozen in an expression of absolute terror. Eyes wide open, mouths agape, hands clenched as if pushing against something invisible. Even the ship's dog was found dead, teeth bared in a snarl. Seasoned sailors, men who had faced storms, war, and shipwreck, later said they had never seen anything like it. It looked as though the crew had died at the same moment, and whatever killed them had left no physical trace. What disturbed the boarding party most was not what they saw, but what they didn't. There were no signs of panic in motion, no overturned furniture, no claw marks on doors, no evidence of men running, fighting, or trying to escape. Meals sat half-eaten in the mess hall. Navigation instruments were still set. The ship's course had not been violently altered. It was as if time itself had stopped, as if whatever struck the crew had done so in an instant, faster than fear could turn into action. One rescuer later recalled a feeling he struggled to put into words. Not fear, not danger, but intrusion. A sensation that they were standing somewhere they were not meant to be. That the ship had become a sealed space. A place where something had already happened and was not finished happening. Some men reported a sudden pressure in their heads. Others felt dizzy, disoriented, unable to focus their thoughts. No alarms sounded. No warning signs appeared. Only silence and heat. An unnatural warmth that seemed to rise from the steel itself, as if the ship were retaining the memory of what had occurred. That was when the rescuers knew. Whatever had killed the crew of the Ourang Medan was not a simple accident. It was not chaos. It was not violence. It was something swift, something overwhelming, something that left no time to react, and something that they should not stay near for much longer. As the boarding party moved deeper into the ship, the temperature below deck continued to climb. Not gradually, rapidly. The air grew thick and stifling, forcing the men to retreat to the deck for breath. Curiosity gave way to urgency. Whatever had happened aboard this ship was not finished yet. The decision was made to attach a tow line and bring the Ourang Medan to port for investigation, but the sea would not allow it. As preparations began, smoke started pouring from the ship's lower holds. Then came the explosion. A violent blast tore through the Ourang Medan's hull, engulfing the vessel in flames. The tow line snapped. The rescuers barely had time to pull away. Moments later, the ship disappeared beneath the waves. No wreckage was recovered. No evidence was saved. No bodies were examined. Just like that, the Ourang Medan took her secrets to the bottom of the sea. In the years that followed, investigators searched for official documentation of the ship and found almost nothing. No confirmed registration under that name, no clear port of origin, no definitive ownership records. Some accounts claimed the ship was Dutch. Others suggested it sailed under a different flag entirely. Even the spelling of its name varied between reports. This absence of records led some to question whether the Ourang Medan had existed at all. But the distress message, reported independently by multiple sources, remained. And so did the story of the dead crew. One of the most widely accepted explanations involves dangerous chemicals. According to this theory, the Ourang Medan was secretly transporting toxic substances, possibly potassium cyanide or other volatile compounds, left over from the chaotic years following World War II. A leak in the cargo hold could have released deadly gas. Potassium cyanide, when exposed to seawater, can produce hydrogen cyanide gas, colorless, fast-acting, and lethal. Inhaling it can cause sudden death, panic, convulsions, and facial expressions of extreme distress. It could also explain the rise in heat and the final explosion. But there are problems with this theory. Cyanide kills quickly, but not always instantly, and it does not easily explain why every crew member died at nearly the same time, or why no one attempted to flee. Another possibility is carbon monoxide poisoning. If the ship's ventilation failed while engines or generators were running, the gas could have spread throughout the vessel. Carbon monoxide is odorless and invisible. It can cause confusion, fear, hallucinations, and sudden collapse. Victims often show no external signs of injury. Yet this theory struggles to explain the explosion and the extreme expressions frozen on the crew's faces. Carbon monoxide usually causes drowsiness before death, not terror. Some researchers suggest the Ourang Medan may have been involved in covert military operations. The late 1940s were a time of secrecy, weapons testing, and unregulated transport of experimental materials. If the ship was carrying classified cargo, records may have been intentionally erased. Witnesses silenced. files destroyed. This theory could explain why documentation is missing, but it still does not explain what killed the crew. And then there are the theories that refuse to stay grounded. Some believe the Ourang Medan encountered something beyond human understanding, an unknown natural phenomenon, a sudden release of gas from the ocean floor, a force that overwhelmed the crew in seconds. Others go further. They speak of curses, of haunted waters, of a ship that crossed into something it was never meant to find. These ideas lack scientific evidence, but they persist because fear leaves a mark that logic cannot always erase. Perhaps the most haunting element of the Ourang Medan story is not the dead crew, not the explosion, not even the missing records. It is the final message. I die. Two simple words. No panic, no prayer, no explanation, just acceptance. It sounds less like a distress call and more like a farewell. If the transmission is real, it may be the last human voice from that ship, captured in the final seconds of consciousness. A moment suspended in time. Many maritime disasters fade into history. This one refuses to, because it offers no closure, no wreckage, no autopsy, no confirmed cause, only a story passed from sailor to sailor, historian to historian. A reminder that the ocean is not just water. It is depth. It is pressure. It is silence. And sometimes, it speaks. When it does, the message may be brief. It may be fragmented. It may end abruptly. But long after the signal fades, the question remains. What happened aboard the Ourang Medan? And more unsettling still, if the sea could speak again, what would it say next?